Did you know I have channel memberships now? For as little as 99 cents a month, you can actually be a channel member. Now, if you want to help out the channel, you can actually go and you will have your name listed in the ends of videos as a shout out to go along with my other supporters. Help the channel out by joining, and yeah, let's have some fun. So, I swear to God that there was a commission for the 1776 about pushing patriotic patriotic education in this country, about making sure that you stick to the conservatives. We see a lot of people that said they're wow, you stick to the Constitution. We see a lot of conservatives with the "We the People" picture as their profile, and they have something called the Constitution. And notice it says "We the People" in order to gain a more perfected union. They don't believe that. They don't believe that. You want to know why? Because they're pushing, they're going for, which is essentially a want to be pot dictator. I know, bad. What haven't we said about the orange buffoon, Donald J. Trump, that has not been said? What if I was to tell you, and I know this video is going around, so what if I was to tell you that he literally allowed for his lawyers to argue in court that a president can do whatever he wants, including political assassinations? So let's go to this video. This is by PBS, so editor, make sure video via PBS. We're gonna actually go through this video and make sure we credit them. Let's go.
Of what you're arguing, I understand your position to be that a president is immune from any official act that he takes as president, even if that action is taken for an unlawful or unconstitutional purpose. Is that correct?
So, what the judge asked, in case you didn't hear, was can a president be charged with a legal act, can be charged with a crime, and any act that he commits is basically in charge of the service, in discharge of the service? Can he be tried for it? And this is a Trump sycophant lawyer. Well, I guess he's doing what he needs to do to make sure his client kind of gets off. But let's go.
With an important exception, which is that if the president is impeached and convicted by the United States Senate in a, proceeding that reflects, widespread political consensus, that would authorize the prosecution under the plain language of the impeachment judgment clause. Okay. So yes, with that exception.
So he literally just said that the president, only way he can be convicted of a crime is to literally be found impeached and convicted in a political trial. Not a criminal, a political trial. So in other words, if the House doesn't impeach and the Senate doesn't convict, then the president can do whatever he wants? What type of shit is that? But let's go. Let's hear the rest of it.
So it seems to me that there are a lot of things that might not go through that process because it's quite a cumbersome process that requires the action of a whole branch of government that has a lot of different people involved. And so in your view, could a president sell pardons or sell military secrets? Those are official acts, right? It's an official act to grant a pardon. It's an official act to communicate with a foreign government. And such a president would not be subject to criminal prosecution?
Now, here's the thing. This is shit that Trump has been accused of doing. Not necessarily that they brought up on charges, but the whole submarine thing that he told to the Australian diplomat, or no, the Australian businessman, that the Australian diplomat was like, yeah, we shouldn't know that shit. The whole selling pardons. I mean, like, it wasn't as if that Trump had the Saudis renting a floor of his hotel, even though they didn't stay there for the duration of his term. This is some shit that if it was anybody other than the last name Trump, for these MAGA fucking religious goddamn cultists, oh no, they didn't know this person needs to go to jail. Oh no, this person needs to do this. So fuck them. But let's go.
The sale of pardons example is an excellent example because there were allegations about a sale of a pardon essentially when it came to President Clinton's pardon of Mark Rich, and the U.S. DOJ carefully considered, and for the very reasons we've emphasized in our brief, decided not to prosecute President Clinton with that because it raised concerns about whether or not a president can be prosecuted for his official acts. There's actually an op-ed in the National Review from Andrew
But your position is
lying under oath, perjury, is something completely different than saying that a motherfucker can go out and kill his political rival. But they haven't gotten to that yet. They've gotten to what a crime that is in the Constitution, which is giving aid and comfort to the enemy, or, treason by selling secrets. That's treason. If you're selling secrets to another country, that's aid and comfort to our enemy, which is in the definition of the Constitution, treason. So you're saying that in the Constitution, because treason is listed out, because it's not a impeachment and conviction, then you can't try a president for that, even though that's the one crime in the motherfucking Constitution that has a reason, definition, and sentence. But let's go.
that he can't be prosecuted for that unless he's impeached.
Yeah, that was, as long as it's an official act. I mean, certain cases, purely private conduct under Clinton against Jones, he'd be subject to prosecution for that, so long as he's not in office. But as long as it's an official act.
Could a president order SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival? That's an official act in order to SEAL Team 6?
He would have to be, and would speedily be, impeached and convicted before the criminal prosecution.
That's not how that works. Impeachment and conviction are political trials. There is no motherfucking exemption, no motherfucking reason, he has to be done this in order to be. Impeachment has to be done for the removal of office. By this motherfucker's logic, even if he was impeached and removed from office, that president, by his law and his action, can still say, well, I was a president when it happened. You still can't get me. That's how fucking stupid this argument is. And we'll get to more of it. Let's go.
But if you weren't, there would be no criminal prosecution, no criminal liability for that?
Chief Justice's opinion in Marbury against Madison and our constitutional tradition and the plain language of the impeachment judgment clause all clearly presuppose that what the founders were concerned about was not.
I asked you a yes or no question. Could a president who ordered SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival who was not impeached, would he be subject to criminal prosecution?
If he were impeached and convicted first.
This shit is stupid. This is akin to somebody saying, I'm going to smack the shit out of this person over here. They beat the shit out of him with the same bloody tool and say, anybody else got something to say? That's akin to it. That's what this is akin to. What are you talking about, dude? By definition, every individual in this country and interacting with this country are subject to its laws. That's in the Constitution. Not only do you have rights for people that is in this country, but people that are reacting to the country. That is in the Constitution. But these sycophants, and again, he may not be a sycophant. Let me not tar him with that brush. But the fact that he is the lawyer and he's making this argument lets me know that he's trying to do everything he can to get his motherfucking client off. I don't know if he believes this shit. I definitely, ethically, could not continue with being this motherfucker's attorney. If he's asking me to make an argument like this, I cannot ethically be this person's attorney. Because that's taking the Constitution and wiping my ass with it and then cleaning my fucking snowy boots with it. But let's continue.
So your answer is
no. My answer is qualified yes. There's a political process that would have to occur under the structure of our Constitution, which would require impeachment and conviction by the Senate. In these exceptional cases, as the OLC memo itself points out from the Department of Justice, you'd expect a speedy impeachment and conviction. But what the founders were much more worried about than using criminal prosecution to discipline presidents was what James Madison calls in Federalist Number 47, the newfangled and artificial treasons. They were.
And what the founders were incredibly sensitive about, incredibly concerned about, is having another fucking king. You know who can order the death of somebody, their political rival, without any type of, resolution, unless the motherfucking other lawmakers decide to stand up to him? A king. That's the thing. The U.S. didn't want another king. You're arguing for a fucking royalist position, dog. And I know he's smarter than that. But what he's arguing is, if the fucking, legislative body is okay with it, then we have another king. And it's not even that they have to be party loyalists. No. Because just like they say the communists did, what Joseph Stalin did, when they pointed out a motherfucking enemy, he went after them. But let's go.
We're much more concerned about the abuse of the criminal process for political purposes to disable the presidency from factions and political opponents. And of course, that's exactly what we see in this case.
I've asked you a series of hypotheticals about criminal actions that could be taken by a president and could be considered official acts. And I've asked you, would such a president be subject to criminal prosecution if he's not impeached or convicted?
Requirement.
And your answer, your yes or no answer is no.
I believe I said qualified yes if he's impeached and convicted first.
My question was, okay, so he's not impeached or convicted. Let's put that aside. You're saying a president could sell pardons, could sell military secrets, could order SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival.
Sale of military secrets strikes me as something that might not be held to be an official act. The sale of pardons is something that's come up historically and was not prosecuted.
But your brief says that communicating with an executive branch agency is an official act.
By his motherfucking brief, taking a shit is a presidential act. Pissing is a presidential act. Stroking it is a presidential act. No, it's a presidential act. The president's answers to the voters. So we should be able to tell these motherfuckers to do. No, what this is a grab for power. But let's look. Let's go.
And communicating with a foreign government is an official act. That's what presidents do.
They're very strong situations. Those are very strong examples of potential official acts. If you look at what Chief Justice Mitchell said against Madison, he said, rising directly under Article 2, Section 1, that the courts, that the president's official acts are, quote, never examinable by the courts. And he says it like 4 different times on pages 164 to 1.
Yeah, but it's like, no, they are. If that is the case, if the president's acts are never subject to the courts, hey, Republicans, the fact that Biden wanted to get rid of student loans, you should have shut the fuck up. Because, again, that was subject to the courts. You can't have it both ways. That's not how that works, Chief. Either we have 3 co-equal branches of government, or you have a fucking dictator, or you have it where the Supreme Courts Biden can just say, fuck it. Roe versus Wade is a law of the land. Do you really want to go down that path? Biden can say, fuck it. SEAL Team 6, Donald Trump is causing an issue. Let's remove him from the roster. Not just Donald Trump. Let's remove all these conservatives from the roster because they're political opponents. Do you really want to give a president that power? But they're political opponents, and I mean, like, I'm just keeping the ones that's going to vote for me. But let's go.
Well, let me ask you about that then, counsel, because your position is, as I understand it, if a president is impeached and convicted by Congress, then he is subject to criminal prosecution, correct?
That would be a necessary, said to prosecution.
Is that a yes?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So therefore, he's not completely and absolutely immune, because under the procedure that you concede, he can be prosecuted if there's an impeachment and conviction by the Senate.
Very, very formidable structural check against the astonishingly radical action of prosecuting a former president with official acts.
But you're conceding that presidents can be criminally prosecuted under certain circumstances.
Yes.
Specifically, if they're impeached and convicted, I think that's the main of the impeachment judgment clause.
And isn't that also a concession that a president can be criminally prosecuted for an official act? Because presidents can be impeached for official acts.
Under those unique circumstances.
Correct. But given that you're conceding that presidents can be criminally prosecuted under certain circumstances, doesn't that narrow the issues before us to, can a president be impeached? Can a president be prosecuted without first being impeached and convicted? All of your other arguments seem to fall away. Your separation of powers arguments fall away. Your policy arguments fall away. If you can.
So in all of this, we have the separations of power. What I just mentioned, the 3 co-equal branches of government. This comes down to, can a president be charged for a crime? That's it. But let's let the judge cook. She's almost finished.
Concede that a president can be criminally prosecuted under some circumstances.
I disagree with that. The Constitution in the Article 2, Section 1 vesting clause, as interpreted very clearly by Chief Justice Marshall and Marbury against Madison, says Article 3 courts lack jurisdiction to engage in examination of the president's official acts. That's been reaffirmed.
You conceded that Article 3 courts can do so if he's been impeached and convicted.
The Constitution makes a carefully balanced, explicit exception to that principle in the impeachment judgment clause. So the problem for the separation of powers, the Constitution does this in many other situations where it engages in a balancing. What the framers were most concerned about was not the notion that the president would never be prosecuted for things that outrageous.
Yeah, he's just talking shit right now. There is nobody that is above the motherfucking Constitution. No one person is above the Constitution. We don't have kings. I seem to remember a motherfucking document coming out, the Declaration of War, saying that we don't want another motherfucking king. Now I get it. Some people, they need their messiah and they think Trump is their messiah, even though when they presented Trump as their messiah to people who don't believe in this shit, it turns them the fuck off. But in the end, Trump is not your messiah. He is not a king. He is not a dictator. You can't be mad because, but the Democrats won. Tough shit. Suck all of the dicks and act like a responsible, intelligent adult. If you want your side to win, demand more of your people. Don't just demand for them to say, I'm going to take care of you so you don't have to think. No, if you want to make me believe that the Republicans are some sort of God sent, first you better prove you're fucking God. Secondly, you better prove that they don't have ill intent for everybody else but themselves. Stop acting as if we should bow down to your chosen motherfucking orange Cheeto ass motherfucker because your feelings was hurt that a darkie was in the fucking White House for 8 years. Because that's where a lot of this shit comes from. We want to take the presidency back. From who? A fucking neoliberal that fucking played more into what Mitt Romney would have been? You were mad. I get it. You were mad because you felt like things were changing too quickly, too much. All of the people that you once can push in the closet and bully were there and they were coming out. And then the colors got all kinds of uppity because they had somebody that was half white in the White House. Instead of demanding more from your politicians, you got mad because some fool who told you years ago, if I was to ever run for president, I would do it as a Republican because those people are easy to trick. He told you, and you fell for it. All because your feelings was hurt. Suck it up, Buttercup. Anyway, oh God. These people would just be like, I don't want nobody to tell me what to do. I don't want the government to tell me to do. But worship Trump like he's the second coming of Christ. Anyway, shit. I'm gonna cut this segment here. Like, share, and subscribe, and all that other good shit. Thumbs up if you like it. Thumbs down if you don't. Leave your comment so I can stroke myself with your tears. Anyway, cut this segment. I want to say thank you to all my Patreon supporters and my Twitch subscribers. Join the Guardians, become a member, or become a subscriber on YouTube, Patreon, and help support the channel. Thank you for watching this video, and the next one should be popping up on your screen. Subscribe, and if you haven't checked it out and want to help out the channel, check out my Patreon. Thanks.